Chase Jesus in your young years with everything you have and give God your best years. This piece of advice was given to me by my small group leader called Ryan Corrigan. And this was when I was 21 years old. I had gone to America for the first time to intern at IHOP, and I had no idea that my whole world was about to get turned upside down, really. This piece of advice was a really special one because it was kind of my first big nugget that I ever had while I was at IHOP. And if you guys watching this video know me, you know that I like nuggets, chicken nuggets, spiritual nuggets. And the reason this piece of advice really impacted me so much was that, I don't know, being a pastor's kid and being someone who had grown up in the church, was young, had been involved in kind of youth work even as a young person, there was always this weird tension with different people in my life where people saw that I was young but I was kind of acting old, like, you know, in trying to be a leader or a youth leader or something like that, or even trying to be a good Christian. I would, you know, do the right thing, and doing the right thing isn't always associated with like being young. Most people think that when you're young, that's like your time to be YOLO and your time to be crazy and, you know, do reckless things. And I never felt like I could ever fit into that category because, you know, it didn't seem like that's what God wanted for the ones who obey him. Now it seems ridiculous to think that, but when Ryan gave this piece of advice, you know, there was a room full of us. We were, you know, 18 to 21 years old, a bunch of guys all together, and we'd all chosen to do this internship where we were going to pray for 6 hours a night for 6 months, 6 days a week. 666. Don't read into that too much. In that moment, it was like, is this what reckless people do? This sounds like a very safe, sensible thing to do. But then as he said it, it kind of made me realize, actually, while you're young, chase Jesus as if you're a young person. Chase him in a way that you can't do when you get older. Chase him in a way that means more and is, you know, is possible as a young person that you can't do when you're married one day, or when you've got a mortgage to pay, or when you've got things like that. And that really restored something to me, because I felt like in some ways that I'd kind of like lost my youth. But what he was telling us was that don't use your recklessness and your YOLO days for partying and doing crazy things like that. Use your recklessness and your youth for Jesus. Like, chase after him in a way that you know you can't do 10 years from now. You know, I used to go to these like all-night worship events, and you know, this piece of advice would be ringing in my ears when I was there at 4 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning. And I was thinking, you know what, this isn't normal, and you know, maybe I won't be able to do this forever, but I'm gonna go after this now because this is super exciting and because this is something I get to do. And that's part of the reason I decided to get into missions work in the way that I did throughout my 20s. You know, a lot of years I got to spend about a quarter of my year in other countries doing stuff, and really it's because I had this attitude of, I'm young, I can do this, I can get away with it now. And so I love this piece of advice, and I would love to pass this advice on to anyone else as well, young or old, because I guess technically we're all young compared to eternity. Chase Jesus in your young years with everything you have. Give God your best years. I just turned 30. I'm not going to say my best years are over, but my 20s are over. And I'm so happy to be able to say that I gave God my 20s. And he did with it what he wanted to do. And I have no regrets for it. I didn't do what my school friends did. You know, they might think I missed out on stuff, but really, I think they missed out on stuff. And for people who didn't give God these best years, I think they've missed out on stuff. So yeah, that's that piece of advice. Thanks, Ryan Corrigan. I'll make sure I send you this video to honor you and make sure you get the credit for this amazing piece of advice. So thank you.